Hello YouTube fans, here again. Hope you can hear me because you've got woof, 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 a little dog barking down my ear hole. But that's not why I'm speaking. I remember watching a review ages ago from Rambo for Life and all things Debbie Does Dyers 2. You're not hearing things, people. Debbie Does Dyers 2. And so I thought, I'll give it a shot. Why not? Why not? I'll have a go at Debbie. But this one's Debbie Does Dyers 2. Now, I do remember reviewing a long, long time ago the original, the classic 78, Debbie Does Dyers. And what can I say about it? What can I say? It's a error of its time. It's an error of its time. You probably find the history of Debbie Does Dyers more interesting than the film. The film, it's cheerleaders. Everybody knows the character Bamber Woods, Debbie. Cheerleaders are trying to raise money so Debbie can go to Dyers. The jobs don't pay that much, so they decide to become prostitutes. That's your film. That is your fucking film. Just it's porn, so you know in porn what you're going to get. But this, double years later, because of the big success of Debbie Does Dyers, which of course was funded by the Mafia, bit of interesting background story, Bamber Wood decided to have another go at Dyers. And so in 1981, they decided to do the sequel. Basically, you got a monologue, you've got the voiceover of Bamber Woods is dead there, talking about all her mates, how they tried to raise the money. And when you think about it, was it really worth it? Mind you, I don't think they did the fuck. I think they was too busy humping and thumping, but it's your porno. I went with it. So basically, Bambi Woods as Debbie, she didn't get the money, she's down on her luck, and she's near, I think she's not so in the middle of Dyers or not. She didn't get to be a cheerleader after all that humping and thumping. And she gets pulled by two bobbies. So that's it at first. She meets a guy, which funny enough is in the original one. A lot of people remember him in a lot of the cannibal films. It'd be Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal Fairlot, Eaten Alive. He's in this as well. He was a porn star in that era of the 70s and 80s. And like I said, he gets picked by the priest. And this bit, the priest is at the top of the field. Can't blame him. It's Bambi Woods. Oh, Debbie. And she's in a cop place, in the police station. The cop tied the body shirts up. Just an excuse for one bang fighting your man. So I don't get into trouble and be a naughty little boy. I'll just say bonking scene. I'm not going to say what she does, what he does, what they do. I'll just say bonking scene, right? If anyone wants to really see it, look for it anywhere you can. But it's a porno. What are you going to expect to see in a porn? So I'll just say one bang thank you, man. Right. Then he lets her off and she goes to her aunt. And apparently her aunt's running a brothel. Surprise, surprise, being in porn. But this one, I do agree with Rambo for Life, who reviewed this one. I agree with him 100% when he actually said that this was dirt cheap. It was done, it felt cheaper than the original. He's right, because there's not really a story in this. Was there really a story in the first one? A lot of people say it's cheesy. Yeah, say it has a little bit of a story in this. It's just an excuse for one bam fighting man, nothing more. But it's, you know, it's porn. It's fucking porn. But I do agree with Rambo for Life. There's a lot more lesbian scenes in this. There's a bit where two dudes are in bed with Debbie. I'm not going to say what they do. Let's just say they do a sex act to keep it mild. Then there's a bit where another dude meets two bobbies. Bam bang thank you man. I'll just say that. A one bang thank you man. You do get one guy. A lot of people remember him a bit on the chubby side. Man, some people overrate. I'm putting rate on. But it's a bit on the bid side. A lot of people remember the porn star. Very noted for having a bid. So I put in detail. There's a bonky scene between him and her. The aunt doesn't want her in. She's a bit well to me. It was sort of interesting. There's a bit what's interesting. There's a bit where Bambi Woods is Debbie's watching everybody having a one bang thanking man. She's fantasising over it. She's imagining it's her. Like I say, she meets our famous porn star. He ends up giving her one. Then she's in bed. You've got the die again from the beginning. If you want to know what I mean by that, the one what picks her up, which funny enough played in the original Debbie Does Dyers. And this one never really explains, in my eyes, it never explains. She never told me, I said, hey, I remember you. I was working in a shop with you. And at the end, you was giving me one. So I'm assuming he's a different character in this. I'm assuming he is. Or he isn't there, because there's a bit where he's in the bedroom. Right, to cut the story short. And he says, I'd give you 20 diets if you let me see your tits. You know, it's typical adult film. And she says his name. And again, trying to keep it mild from what you see. You know what I mean? We all know porn. Everyone's seen porn once in their life. Soft or hard. I don't come out the one way. And, you know, she has sets with him. He did the one. End of movie or end of porno. But what can I say? What can I say about Debbie Does Diaries 2? It came out in 1981. In today's era, it's the typical porno, you know what I mean? It's porn when it had a story. That's the difference between porn today. Today, it's just a wham bang thank you man, not a lot of story, bang 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 bang, that is it. But back then, you know, 70s and 80s, it's a typical cheesy story. But I've got to do with Rambo for life. When he reviewed this, I've got to do with him 100%. I do feel that this one was cheapened out a lot from the original one. The characters, there weren't a lot of characters in it, and like the original one, like all the cheerleaders, who was dying to fund the money for Bambi Woods as Debbie, they had more character. You had the dude who had no knickers, you had the one who got a smack bum in the librarian, you had a lot of other ones, you know what I mean? You got to know the characters. It's wasn't really characters in it, but in this, you could take them or leave them. To me, it was just an excuse for Wham Bang Thank You Man. They were all prostitutes. There weren't a lot of character listed in it. The only one thing I'll give this one is you do get to see a lot more Debbie in it. There's a lot more Wham Bang Thank You Man with Debbie in it. That's the only one thing I'll give this Debbie. But again, like I said, with the history of Debbie Does Diaries, they made a sequel in 85. Bambi Woods again comes into it. Now, a lot of people think this didn't have a story. It was a wham bang. It was an excuse for bonking. I won't say wham bang again. It was an excuse for bonking. Go to 1985 and see the last performance by Bambi Woods as Debbie in Debbie Does Diaries 3. That is just bonking. There's not even a story to it. It's bonking, 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 more bonking, bonk, 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 bonking all the way through the fucking film or porno. But you know, it's a typical porn, and I'm repeating myself. It's a typical porno from that era. But I don't like porn from a certain era. You know what I mean? Whether it's the original Debbie Does Diaries, whether it's Deep Throat, whether it's Behind the Dean Door, whether it's Insatiable, with Marilyn Chambers, Macy West. You know what I mean? Bambi Woods, it's Debbie. I don't like them sort of adult, tacit, sort of adult films. I sort of like them because in my eyes, you know, it had a story to it. It was cheesy. There's a bit of a budget in it, not a lot, but you know, they had to make a film out of it. And that's the difference between porn not to be today. Today, it's wham, bang, thank you, man, and not a lot of story. There's two adult films out there with a bit of a story to them. Like, I remember reviewing the spin-off of Star Wars, which basically was a porn version. I did have laughs and giggles with that, and there's a lot of other adult films out there. I might even one day talk about the adult version of Star Trek, which have been a lot of versions of that. But this one, I just felt it was a lot cheaper than the first one. I felt it was a little bit more disappointing. But if you want to go into it for bonking, you want to go into it for lesbian scenes, you want to go into it for more bonking, people used to fancy the arse of Bambi Woods in that golden era, that's for you. Star ratings. 2-star rating, it's porn. My bit of fun went half an hour, but I was watching it just to be through it, not to enjoy myself through it. Because it's hard to enjoy yourself for something from a certain era as well. Because when you think about it, half them porn stars, if they're still alive, are probably getting on, probably too old, probably like me, got a fucking beer belly, or so on. You know what I mean? So I'm going to get aroused by women that probably now not exactly young women anymore. But it's no, it's an history. It's an era of its time. I have to say an era of its time. So again, Debbie Does Diaries 2, a 2-star rating. Into them, be smart, be safe, and I'm about to see Debbie. See you later.